These are America's largest production builders, delivering the worst quality tract homes in decades while making record profits. This is the untold story of how builder grade became a scam that's costing homebuyers billions, and why new construction homes built by D.R. Horton, Lennar, and PulteGroup are engineered to fail within 15 years despite 30-year mortgages. Right now, if you're shopping for a new home in these suburban tract developments, you're walking into what industry insiders call a perfect storm. Labor shortages have hit a record 32% deficit, material costs have skyrocketed, and yet the three biggest names in production home building, D.R. Horton, Lennar, and PulteGroup, just posted their highest profit margins in over 30 years. Something doesn't add up. Here's what they don't want you to know. While builders are making more money than ever, the tract homes they're selling you are smaller, cheaper to build, and plagued with defects that previous generations would never have tolerated. We're not talking about minor cosmetic issues. We're talking about structural problems that violate the International Residential Code and make homes unsafe and unlivable. The numbers tell a shocking story. Today's new homes are 11% smaller than they were just 10 years ago, yet they cost 74% more per square foot. The average new home has shrunk by 323 square feet since 2015, while the average price has jumped by $161,000. They're literally giving you less house for more money, and the quality of what you're getting has never been worse. Let me show you exactly how this system works and why it's rigged against you. The term builder grade sounds official, doesn't it? Like something a professional would endorse. But here's the dirty secret. Builder grade doesn't mean quality. It means cheap. It's a marketing term that disguises the fact that you're getting the absolute minimum materials and craftsmanship that still technically meets International Residential Code standards. Builder grade cabinets, they're made from particleboard OSB or the cheapest plywood available, often delivered flat-packed to save on shipping costs. Builder-grade doors? Nearly all are hollow core construction, light, easily damaged, with zero soundproofing capabilities and substandard R-value insulation ratings. The surface is usually masonite or MDF fiberboard that can't handle moisture or impact. Builder-grade windows come only in stock sizes, and they're frequently ill-fitting, leaving gaps that create drafts and moisture problems. These aren't upgrades you can easily fix later. These are fundamental components of your home that will affect your comfort, energy bills, and resale value for decades. But the real deception happens in the model homes. Those beautiful showcase properties you tour, they're built with significantly higher quality materials, better craftsmanship, and premium finishes that create completely unrealistic expectations. The actual production home you'll receive looks similar from a distance, but it's constructed with entirely different materials and methods. One homeowner I spoke with described his experience this way. They don't build these homes in months or years anymore. They build them in weeks. It's crazy how quickly they pop up, and as soon as they pop up, the builders are gone. Everything's on the homeowner, and they don't know all the shoddy work that goes on behind the scenes. This speed isn't just about efficiency. It's about profit maximization at your expense. To understand why quality has collapsed, you need to follow the money. In 2023, home builders achieved their highest profit margins in more than 3 decades. The average gross profit margin hit 20.7%, the highest since 2006. The average net profit margin reached 8.7%, second only to a peak in 1991. These aren't modest returns. These are massive profits being extracted from an essential human need, shelter. And they're achieving these profits not by building better homes, but by cutting costs wherever possible while charging premium prices. Here's how the math works against you. Labor costs have skyrocketed due to massive shortages, so builders have responded by using cheaper materials like OSB instead of plywood and rushing construction timelines. Nick Gromyko, founder of Internachi, explained it perfectly. Material has gone sky high. In the past, labor was worth more than material. As a result, if a contractor makes a mistake when cutting a piece of wood, they're more likely to patch. Think about that for a moment. When workers make mistakes with expensive materials, they're now encouraged to patch over problems rather than fix them properly. This isn't craftsmanship, it's damage control that becomes your problem later. The industry currently needs approximately 723,000 new construction workers each year to meet demand, but there are only 300,000 to 400,000 open positions being filled monthly. This shortage has extended average construction times from 7 months to nearly 11 months, adding $2.6 billion annually in carrying costs that get passed directly to you. When builders can't find enough skilled workers, they hire whoever's available and hope for the best. Quality control becomes impossible when you're rushing to meet deadlines with undertrained crews. But there's an even deeper systemic problem that ensures poor quality: the subcontractor system. Most people assume that when you buy from D.R. Horton, Lennar, or KB Home, their employees are building your home. That's not how it works. Builders subcontract out an average of 84% of their total construction costs to independent contractors. A typical home involves 24 different subcontractors, each responsible for different aspects of construction. Here's where it gets ugly. These subcontracts almost always go to the lowest bidder. The builder's job is to coordinate these various trades, but they have minimal control over quality because they're not actually employing the workers. Each subcontractor is racing to complete their portion as quickly and cheaply as possible so they can move to the next job. This creates a perfect storm of misaligned incentives. The framers don't care if their rushed work creates problems for the electricians. The electricians don't care if their shortcuts cause issues for the plumbers. Nobody takes responsibility for the overall quality, because everybody's just trying to complete their piece of the puzzle and get paid. One construction expert described it this way: all that coordination and in and out of different contractors can lead to missed items and construction defects. When problems arise, finger-pointing becomes the default response because no single entity is responsible for the complete build quality. The numbers prove this system is broken. According to veteran risk manager Will Keaveney, who reviewed 10,000 structural claims for the National Association of Homebuilders, 25% of all homes in the U.S. will suffer some type of structural defect in their lifetime. That's not a small percentage of homes with minor issues. That's 1 in 4 homes with serious structural problems. The situation has become so bad that we're seeing a repeat of one of the darkest periods in American homebuilding history. From 1997 to 2007, the housing boom produced what experts now recognize as the worst quality homes ever built in America since the original Levittown tract developments of the 1950s. An Angie's List survey of highly rated home inspectors found more problems with homes built during this decade than any other time period. The boom lasted just 10 years, but averaged 1.7 million new homes annually, compared to the previous boom that lasted over 30 years and averaged 1.4 million homes. The difference wasn't the quantity, it was the quality. Speed and volume took priority over craftsmanship and durability. Sound familiar? Today, we're seeing the same warning signs. Builders are using experimental materials and methods that save time and money, but haven't been tested long-term. Direct applied finish systems instead of stucco, hardboard instead of real wood siding, foam trim instead of wood or concrete. These systems cost less and install faster, but they're frequently the subject of defect litigation because they don't perform as well as traditional materials. One Georgia homeowner's experience with D.R. Horton illustrates the problem perfectly. Almost immediately after moving into his new home, he noticed serious issues: air conditioning constantly out, bent nails everywhere, defective plywood, and hundreds of maggots in the trash left by construction workers. His reaction: I was like, man, this is turning out to be a house from hell. This isn't an isolated incident. More than 60 homeowners across 16 states have shared similar accounts about D.R. Horton and Lennar homes, describing extensive construction defects from substandard workmanship, inferior materials, and blatant international residential code violations that sometimes make their homes unsafe and unlivable. One attorney who specializes in construction defects says he files lawsuits against these companies representing hundreds of homeowners every year, and he's seeing the issues with home building companies increase as development continues to expand rapidly. In Texas alone, the class action lawsuit Martinez v. D.R. Horton resulted in a $16.1 million settlement for over 200 buyers, yet similar quality issues persist across their developments. The legal system isn't providing much protection either. Both D.R. Horton and Lennar include mandatory arbitration clauses in their contracts that require buyers to waive their right to go to court. Instead, any disputes must be resolved through a private arbitration system managed by companies like 2 to 10 Home Buyers Warranty and Residential Warranty Company that consumer advocates say systematically favors the builder. How biased is this system? A class action lawsuit against the American Arbitration Association alleges that consumers lose 76% of the time in arbitrations they initiate. The deck is stacked against homeowners from day one, even when homeowners do win significant settlements, like the Martinez v. Dr. Horton case. These victories don't change the underlying system that created the problems in the first place. The inspection system that's supposed to protect you is equally compromised. Municipal building inspections are what industry insiders call cursory. Cities simply cannot supply enough qualified inspectors to catch international residential code violations in real time. In the Lowcountry, inspection reports show inspectors signed off on homes with known problems months before homeowners moved in. This means you're essentially buying a home based on trust that profit-motivated builders are policing themselves. How well is that working? The surge in property values has doubled repair costs and settlement values for defect claims, indicating that problems are becoming both more frequent and more expensive to fix. Construction defect litigation consistently rises in years following skilled labor shortages, and we've been experiencing those shortages for most of the last decade. The bill for this quality crisis is coming due, and homeowners are the ones paying it. So what does this mean for you as a prospective buyer? First, understand that bigger isn't necessarily better when it comes to builders. Dr. Horton calls itself America's builder and has closed more than 1.2 million homes since 1978, making it the largest builder by volume since 2002. Lennar is one of the nation's two largest residential home builders. PulteGroup ranks third nationally. Size gives them market power, but it doesn't guarantee quality. In fact, the evidence suggests the opposite. Even premium builders like Toll Brothers have faced similar quality control challenges. Second, recognize that the current market conditions are creating unprecedented pressure for corner cutting. The nation has a housing deficit of 1.5 million homes, creating enormous demand. But with record labor shortages and material costs, builders are incentivized to prioritize speed and cost-cutting over quality. Third, don't assume that newer means better. The trend toward smaller homes with higher per-square-foot costs isn't about efficiency or modern living. It's about maintaining profit margins while dealing with increased construction costs. They're selling you less house for more money and hoping you won't notice. Fourth, be extremely skeptical of model homes and marketing materials. That beautiful showcase represents the best possible version of what you might receive, not the standard production quality. Ask to see recently completed production homes, not the models. Fifth, if you do decide to buy new construction, budget for problems. With a 25% chance of structural defects and widespread quality control issues, you're essentially gambling on getting one of the good ones. Have a substantial emergency fund ready for unexpected repairs that should have been done correctly the first time. The American dream of home ownership has become a nightmare of corporate profit extraction. Builders have figured out how to maximize their returns while minimizing their responsibility, leaving homeowners to deal with the consequences of rushed, low-quality construction. This isn't about being anti-development or anti-business. It's about holding an industry accountable for delivering the quality they promise at the prices they charge. When builders are making record profits while delivering historically poor quality, something is fundamentally broken in the system. The next time you see a sign promising luxury new construction or premium builder-grade finishes, remember what you've learned here. Behind those marketing terms is an industry optimized for profit, not quality, staffed by overextended subcontractors using the cheapest materials that technically meet international residential code standards. Your home will likely be the largest purchase of your lifetime. Make sure you're making that investment with full knowledge of what modern tract home construction really delivers. Because when it comes to new construction quality, the house might look good in the photos, but the truth is in the details they don't want you to see.